Hey guys, Mrs. Stans here. Hope everything's going well. Today there's nothing new to learn. Today it's just more practice. But I am going to make sure I go through problems with you in case you're having a hard time. So like always, I want you to copy the objective. So again, it's just that we're using the properties of equality to solve equations. Remember, properties of equality mean that you're doing things to both sides. So you might add something to both sides, subtract from both sides, multiply to both sides, or divide by both sides. I would like you to do the do now on your own, so I suggest you hit pause, do it, and then turn me back on. And then we'll continue with our lesson. So hopefully you hit pause. Again, you have to know the correct terminology for, my pen's not working. Here we go. You have to know the correct terminology for what we do to each side. So this person solved the equation correctly, I'll tell you that, but they did it in an unusual fashion. Usually we would distribute first, but they didn't. They added 14 to both sides. And you know what? It's allowed because as long as you're following mathematical properties, you're guaranteed to get the right answer. So this is the additive property of equality. And then I can see they divided on both sides. They divided both sides by this -3. So that's the division property of equality. Next, they subtracted 1 from both sides. The subtraction property of equality. And then they divided both sides by 6. That's the division property of equality. And like I said, they actually did it correct. The answer really is -2. It just might seem a little unusual to you, the order in which they did things. Because if we look at the steps that I have on my board, or that's listed on page 6, it says we like to distribute first. So it's asking us to solve the same equation a different way. So let's do it by distributing. So we would get -3 minus 18x, and then I'll bring down to -14 equals 19. Next step on my board, or on page 6, says combine like terms. So let's combine the -3 and the -14. I'm going to write down -18x first, and then a -3 and a -14 combine to be -17. Next, we have to add to both sides, and that's called the additive property of equality. I get -18x equals 36, and then if I divide both sides by a -18, x equals -2. So do you see, as long as you use properties correctly, you'll always get the same answer. So you just have to know the properties. So we're only going to do this like one question together, really. If you were in my class in person, I would do this, and then I would ask you to do these questions on your own. So there's only 4 questions for classwork that I would ask you to do on your own. So since you're learning by video, I am going to do this question with you, and then I am going to ask you to hit pause so that you could try these questions on your own. And you're going to check to make sure you got the right answer by turning me back on. So let's see how that works out for you. Here, a lot of people probably would want to distribute first, so we could do that. Let's write down -2x minus 34 plus 4x equals 3x minus 6. Next, I'd like to combine like terms, so I'll combine this and this. And just to let you know, you would have been allowed to combine these like terms first in the parentheses if you wanted to. And in the end, you'd get the same answer because we're following correct mathematical properties. Anyway, I'm going to continue with what I chose to start off with. So a negative 2x and a 4x is a 2x. I'll bring down the 34 equals 3x minus 6. And just like we said yesterday, when you have variables on both sides, you get to choose. I don't know. What do I want to do? I can subtract 2x from both sides, or I could subtract 3x from both sides. I think I choose to subtract 2x. That's just what I choose. So I have negative 34 equals 1x, and I don't have to write down the 1, minus 6. Then I'm going to add 6 to both sides. I have an x on the right side. On the left side, I have negative 28. Yes, negative 28. And there we go. Let's do a practice check. In place of the x, I'm going to put a negative 28. I'm going to work just on the left side for now, and I'm going to take care of stuff in these parentheses. I have to multiply before I add. So I'm going to write down negative 28 plus 17, and then negative times negative is positive, so I'm going to write this as plus 56. Remember, you are allowed to use a calculator. I'm going to stay on this side and still deal with stuff in the parentheses. Negative 28 plus 17 plus 56. Remember, you are allowed to use a calculator also if you wanted to. So here's my nice fancy calculator. I can enter negative 28 plus 17 plus 56 and see that it's a 45. And then do negative 2 times 45, which happens to be negative 90. So I'm hoping the other side is the same. I have to multiply. Again, if you need a calculator, 3 times negative 28 is negative 84. And negative 84 minus 6, it really is a negative 90. So this worked out for us. So now is when I'm going to ask you to hit pause and go try and do these questions. And then your homework starts here, which is page 18, and there are 5 questions. Solve and check. There's plenty of room for everything right in its location. So give it a try, like I said, and then come back and make sure your answers are right. So these are the answers to the classwork. If you got, for number 1, x equals 8, and number 2, v equals negative 1, and number 3, k equals 5, and number 4, n equals 1, you did everything right. If you didn't get these answers, then continue to watch the video, and you can even like fast forward to maybe the question you got wrong, because I am going to do them for you. I am going to do it rather fast, so send me any questions if you have them. So first I'm distributing, and then I feel like adding 18R to both sides. And the negative 16 plus 18 is a positive 2R. Next, I have to add 19 to both sides. I get 16 equals 2R. So when I divide by 2, R equals 8. And if I did the check, going to do just the left side first. I get negative 147. So hopefully this works out. Some of that I did in my head. 16 times 8. So negative 19 minus 128. When the signs are the same, it's like adding. So negative 19 minus 128 is a negative 147. So that worked out. Number 2, if I distribute, and then I want to combine like terms right here because they're on the same side. And then I feel like subtracting 6b. Remember, when you have variables on both sides, you get a choice. What side do you want to get rid of? And then I have to subtract 31. So that 30v equals negative 30. And when I divide by 30, I get that v equals negative 1. Remember, when I do checks, I just do one side at a time. This turns out to be a 0, so I get 6 times 0 minus 5. 0 minus 5 is a negative 5. Over here, I have to multiply first. And then when I combine like terms, I get a negative 5. So that check worked out. Number 3, be careful. This is a negative 2 that's getting distributed. So I get minus 10k plus 12. It's that plus sign that some people do wrong. I'm not going to do things both sides yet because I see over here I can combine. And now I have k's on both sides, so this is where I have a choice. Oh no, I guess I'm going to choose to add 3k. And then I have to subtract 12. And divide by negative 11. So k is positive 5. And if I do the check, I'm just going to stick on the left side. I'll do that first. And then I'll do 25 minus 6. And then negative 4 times 5 and 2 times 19. This turns out to be negative 58. I'm hoping this side is the same. So that's a negative 15 minus 43. And then this turns out to be negative 58. Yes. And this is the last question. I'm going to distribute this negative 7. So that's a plus 42 because negative times negative is positive. And then this is minus 56n. And over here, I have like terms. I always want to combine like terms before I start doing the opposite stuff. And then I feel like adding 56n. Remember, when variables on both sides, you have your choice. This is my choice. So I get 61n. Now I have to add 16. and then divide by 61. N equals 1. And then I do the check. I'm going to do the left side first. Hit negative 11. And I hope this side turns out to be negative 11. I have to follow the order of operations. I have to do that first. And following the order of operations, I have to do the parentheses next. And then following the order of operations says I have to multiply this next. And then 3 minus 14 is negative 11. And this side said negative 11. So it works out. So I know I did the classwork fast, but that's because you were supposed to hit pause and try it on your own. And remember, you have to be experts at solving equations. So you have to practice and ask me questions when you have it. I hope you have a good day. Do the 5 questions for homework. And make sure you turn things in on Google Classroom. Always read the directions as to what I need submitted. I'll see you soon. Bye.